Some people have asked me about my children, my family situation, and how come I'm not distraught like I was over the Frog Prince because my mum's died. I think the meltdown I had at the beginning of the Froglet Diaries was something extreme, something I've never done before. I know it's been reported differently in the news, but it really, I'm not really somebody who does that really, and that's why I thought it was so important to record it, because when you have a child that dies, it's totally different. It is the worst grief, I think, in the whole wide world, to lose a child. A parent, I absolutely am upset. I have had moments of crying, and inside I'm silent and still. I always have like a delayed reaction normally. Some of us don't really do that stuff immediately. We kind of build up to a moment which catches us off guard. I remember years after losing my son Blake, who died in a seizure at 23 in 2005, I was cleaning out a kitchen cupboard. Right at the back there was a tin of hot dog sausages, and Blake was the only one that ate those. And finding that tin of hot dog sausages absolutely destroyed me. I was crying and sobbing for the whole day because I missed him so much and everything. My children were my world, absolute world. My mum was a lady who was 81, and in my head, I think that she had a life with wonderful memories. We have good memories, bad memories of mum. We have, wonderful experiences, and experiences that, are not so wonderful because, again, your parent is not always perfect, not as you aren't yourself. But you're not supposed to, your children aren't supposed to go before you. Not in your head, not in your heart. And to lose a child, as those of you who have lost children know, a piece of your heart is forever destroyed. It's never whole again. And you have to learn to live with that hole, that gaping hole inside you. And I've lost 4 out of my 5 children. One of those children is still on this earth, out there. And sometimes that's a worse grief than not having them a nice, neat little ending where you can grieve and try to come to terms with things. It's a heavy load for my surviving child to carry, that she's gone down from being part of a family to an only child. That recognition of her journey is a very hard one for me. She's got no one apart from the person she loves and her own child to rely on as her own family. Her nana's just died, her granddad is old, she's only got her mum, her Auntie Mel, and people who she's making her own life with around her. It's not easy, is it? It's not easy to say how you continue in that circumstance, but we all have our own baggage to carry. How did I cope with losing my babies? My first baby, Dale, it was worse to wake up in a ward where everybody had their babies when your baby was in the special care unit and you weren't able to hold it and cuddle it and feed it and all that stuff. And to watch your child struggle to survive was one of the hardest things. But it set me up to be a rock for my son Blake when he got meningitis 3.5. And I was his carer for 20 years. And we had struggles over those 20 years to keep him alive, to fight for his rights in the world, for his schooling, being bullied, all sorts of things. When I had my accident and I was extremely poorly, my younger son was in a situation where I was ill and I missed the signs of what was happening to him. And by the time I realised what was happening, it was too late to help him. And that is something that I've never forgotten. I never can forget. I feel as though I failed being the rock for him. And my daughter too, you know, because I wasn't well enough and able enough to be the mum that I always was. Vigilant is the word. You know, I guess, you know, she may feel that, you know, I didn't keep our family safe in that circumstance. There's an awful lot of things that I thought I was a wonderful mother, and maybe looking back now I think, well, you weren't that good, were you really? And there are some people who would say you've been an absolutely outstanding mother, and you know, you did your absolute best. And I think that's the thing, when you lose your parent, you have gone through a range of emotions as a child with that parent, a range of experiences. The life cycle has come to its natural conclusion, and you want that parent to be out of pain and at peace. With your children, there are always the what ifs. What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? Did I do that right? Where would they be now? What would they be doing? How would they look? What would we have been doing as a family? I think the only thing you can do is keep breathing. Every day you get up. Grief is a journey of such different pathways. Everybody walks that journey differently, and you can only travel the path that you travel, and each pathway has dips and bumps, and you can trip and you can fall and everything. But I would rather have had my children in my life for the time I had them, and they were a blessing. And I prefer to see them as some greatest gift that I ever had, and that made me a better person. And I look to my son Blake as my ultimate hero, to teach me how to survive life, and to teach me about endurance and about goodness. And when I think about my family, as well as the bereavement, as well as the grief of losing 4 out of those 5 children, I also remember all the wonderful times I had with Blake, Tigger and Toots, and nobody can ever take that away